We've got the answers to anything that we want at our fingertips now, and people are getting more and more more and more informed, who are over the last 20 years since the boom of the internet. All of this truth is out there, and all of the facts are out there with regards to US imperialism and what the UK are doing around the world. I mean, what we're doing in the Chagos Islands is just horrific. I haven't even covered that in one of my videos yet. The truth is coming out, and this is what they're trying to stop, because this truth is throwing a bloody big monkey wrench in their whole operation. It's people are starting to, as you say, tell the truth. They start to be more active. They start to be louder on Twitter and whatever. And the answer from the establishment so far has not been to listen to them and say, hold on, we better change our ways. Their answer is to be, well, let's silence them instead with crushing censorship. How far do you think this will go with regards to the censorship, or is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Because I was talking to Piers Robinson not long, it was a few weeks ago. I had an interview with him, and he was saying, we're in wartime. This is wartime. And you see this crushing censorship during wartime. I made that. Do you think that this censorship will be lifted in as we move past this phase, or do you think it's going to get worse? My feeling is they're going to try and really clamp down on the censorship to try and stop these truths getting out.
I'm afraid I think it's going to get worse. That's why they make an example of Julian Assange. It's like, and just in case anybody had any idea that they were going to reveal things we don't want revealed, just ask yourself if you want to be facing decades in prison in a supermax prison in the United States.
It's a message.
It is, absolutely. And that's the use of Russiagate as well, that you control the narrative. I mean, they use Russia as the enemy, but they shortly after the election in 2016, there was this mysterious group, Propaganda or Not, and they developed this list of sites that they said were under Russian influence, black agenda.
According to, was it the Washington Post? According to the Washington Post, I mean, it was like this organisation they are the Bible on who is a good actor and who is a bad actor, and they sprang up from nowhere, didn't they?
Well, it tells you that it was the Washington Post. I mean, it was, absolutely. I mean, it only appeared in the Washington Post because Proper Not is the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos. And I mean, talk about a lack of democracy. The richest man in the world owns one of the most influential newspapers in the country, the paper that covers the U.S. government. And we used to, and just briefly, we used to have more media consolidation has encouraged a lot of censorship. It was Bill Clinton. There used to be regulations on media consolidation. You could not
Telecommunications Act, wasn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't own a newspaper and a TV station in the same city, for example. Clinton got rid of that. Now there are 6 media companies that control everything we see and hear in the United States. Just 6. And that means we can't have democracy. If you have all the information in the hands of a handful of people, and as far as the internet is concerned, they are not going to just sit around and let us say what we want to say. So then you have to have an integrity initiative. You have to have people being smeared. You have to have people being discredited because they cannot risk us being able to communicate freely.
They certainly can't. Julian Assange wrote to me, and in his letter he ended with the words, ultimately, truth ultimately is all we have. If we lose that, we're done for. Because if the I mean, this is my opinion, I don't know how you feel about that. If we allow the CIA and FBI and GCHQ to have the keys to the bowels of history, to writing history, then the future is just going to be totally false. Nothing is going to be true, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, things disappearing from the internet. I mean, it's gone.
Philip Cross on Wikipedia editing it. This is Philip Cross is, for those of you who don't know, it's something that somebody who has been editing Wikipedia, I think like 18 hours a day non-stop for the last 10 years. And it's always Vanessa Beeley's page on Wikipedia is just, I mean, you look down the edits, it's just Philip Cross. And this looks to me like it's some sort of, I don't know, it's a computer program, artificial intelligence, if you want, that's collating information from from establishment media figures in the media and online. And that's how they're editing or stealth editing, people like Vanessa Beeley's page. It's changing the truth. And if we don't know what the truth is, how the hell can we do anything about what they're doing to us and the crushing oppression that we're facing and the erosion of human rights and civil liberties and press freedom and freedom of speech, etc.? If we don't know what the truth is, how can we fight back against it?
It's very difficult. It's very troubling. I have found, I've said many times, unless you are a news junkie who likes the internet, who knows who to follow on social media, you have no idea what's going on in the country. No. And the fact that you have to be a subset of a subset of a subset in order to know anything is just disgraceful. So the other thing that's dangerous is people who think they're well informed are being lied to. So there are people Americans, they read the New York Times or they listen to NPR or CNN or MSNBC, and they think they're well informed because they get news information from these sources, but they don't know anything. And that is also very troubling. Yeah. So what it does is it makes us look crazy or like liars. So if I say there's no proof that Assad ever used chemical weapons against his own people, people look at you like you're crazy because they've never heard that before. Everything they've heard is just the opposite. So Julian Assange, I'm a contributor to the recent book In Defense of Julian Assange. My chapter is called The Naivete of Julian Assange. And I argue he didn't know what he was getting into when he took those documents, accepted the documents from the DNC. And no, he didn't hack in. Nobody hacked the DNC. But anyway, so we have this system now where, so Assange gets blamed for Donald Trump's loss. So most people who are liberals, who ordinarily would be his defenders, don't care about him or even hate him because it's his fault that Donald Trump won. That's the kind of thing they do. And so when you and I say anything different, we're just crazy people to them.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So they can silence us. So even if we can speak, nobody wants to hear us.